Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Matt with Coyote Creek Archery, and today I'm outside. It's a beautiful spring morning. You can hear the birds chirping. Great day to come outside and do a little bit of shooting. And I haven't done a video for a while, and I wanted to give you an update on arrow build I've been doing. I talked about in my last video, or a couple of videos back, talking about looking to get a little bit more speed out of my bow. If you remember, I'm shooting a Bowtech Solution. 60 pounds, 28-inch draw. I did update my strings, so I'm really shooting these awesome strings now. It's by Gas. It's a Gas Ghost XV strings, and I went with the fluorescent orange serving on them, and very stable, no peep twist. I've been really impressed with these new strings from Gas. So I've swapped out my strings and changing up my arrows a little bit. What I was shooting before was a gold tip Kinetic Chaos 340 spine, and was weighing about 495 grains. A little bit heavier arrow. I'm using 125 grain field points up front, and I built some gold tip Black Label Quantums here with the pink, and it's a lighter arrow. These are I think it's a 7.7, yeah, 7.7 grains per inch on these. The Kinetic Chaos is a 9.9, so pretty big difference in the weight of the two arrows. I think the total arrow weight of the Black Label Quantum was right about 422 grains. So I dropped a good 70 grains on my arrow weight, and I did pick up some speed. Before on my bow I was shooting in comfort, and I've switched it over to performance. I don't notice a whole lot of difference on the draw cycle. There's just a little bit of a hump in the back end, but it's still very smooth and very comfortable to shoot. And I gained about 10 feet per second, so I'm going to continue shooting on performance with the Bowtech Solution. I think before with the Kinetic Chaos I was shooting about 245 feet per second, somewhere around there, 242, 243, 245 with the heavier arrow. When I switched to performance mode and went to the lighter arrow setup, I was right up around 270 feet per second. So quite of a big jump in speed as well. So what I want to look at today is shoot a couple arrows. I'm going to shoot from 50 yards, and you can see at the target here, I'll put a couple different angles so you can kind of see how things are working out. But I want to show you how much arrow drop I was getting from the lighter arrow to the heavier arrow. I'm going to shoot a little bit higher on the target because I am going to get some drop. I expect my heavier arrow to be down in here somewhere. I don't want to miss or go off the target, so I'll aim up at this top diamond from about 50 yards, shoot with my lighter arrow first, and then I'll shoot with my heavier arrow, take a couple shots and show you a couple different angles and see the difference that I'm getting. There is a noticeable difference, and so I think I'm going to stick with the lighter setup, especially for the type of hunting that I do. I'll show you some video of where I'm at right now. There's a few trees behind me, but those are the only trees that are around here. Those are trees that have been planted for a windrow. I can see a good 10 miles to the south from where I'm at, kind of open country, hunting whitetail, and not a whole lot of mule deer left around here, but I do like to hunt mule deer, pronghorn, and that type of thing. So you do have opportunities at taking some shots. I don't like to hunt past about 40 yards. It's kind of my personal maximum range. I like to practice past that, and I've only shot, I think I shot a pronghorn at about 45 yards a couple of years ago. On deer, I don't think I've shot a deer 35, about 35 yards is about as far as I've taken a shot on a whitetail before. So I don't hunt that far, but I do like to practice that far. And I was looking for just a little bit more speed, let that arrow to get there a little bit quicker. I don't think I'm going to lose much in penetration, especially since I'm using Magnus broadheads or cut on contact. And so I think my setup's going to be a good setup. But anyway, I wanted to show you some video, talk a little bit about the changes that I've made and give you an update on that. Okay, this is first group. I was a little bit high. This little dot, these old eyes, is kind of hard to see at 50 yards. I see really good up close. I got to wear the glasses for shooting and seeing a little bit longer distance. It's hard for me to focus, but I'll do a little bit better on the next shot. But I wanted to measure. So 7.5 to 8 inches of drop on this first group. I'll shoot them again. Again, the pink arrow is 420 grains. The arrow with the orange and yellow fletching is going to be 495 grains. I'll shoot a couple more groups so we can kind of get an average of see how much arrow drop I'm getting with the same setup, but just a little bit heavier arrow versus a lighter arrow. Okay, this time I aimed at the center dot. Gives me a little bit bigger target to aim at, and I was off by a little bit more. I'm sure some of that's me at 50 yards, but let's see. Right at 12 inches. So I got an average of about 9-inch drop. I'll shoot one more group and we can kind of see what that average is. Obviously, some of it's going to be user error. It's going to be the idiot behind the bow that's taking these shots, but kind of wanted to see what my arrow drop was between the two different arrows. Again, I'm going to shoot at this center dot on this next group. I don't think I'm going to be too low or I'm going to be off the target with that heavier arrow. Okay, group 3. I was getting a little tired. Pulled this one a little bit to the right, but we're opening it up. I'm at 14 now on that group. So we getting bigger as I get tired, I guess. Running back and forth, taking a few shots. So average of what? 10 to 12 inches of drop, which is pretty significant. I don't know what the difference in energy is going to be, in penetration, and obviously the heavier arrow is going to carry more energy down range, but it's going to get there slower. The lighter arrow is going to get there quicker. The further down range it gets, it's going to lose its energy. I think with a good cut-on contact broadhead, again, I've been using Magnus Stingers. I'm going to use a Magnus Snuffer SS this year. I've been flying and grouping really well for me. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with penetration with the setup that I have. I'm not hunting super large, big boned animals. Obviously an elk's going to be a little bit more difficult, but I don't think I'm going to have any trouble with that either. People shoot elk with recurves all the time, shooting less than 200 feet per second. They're using a little bit heavier arrow. Not going to be a problem. So I just wanted to get a little bit more speed, close up my pin gaps a little bit, grab my bow. I am using a black gold mountain light, and you can see I've got it dialed in at 50. So I do have the ability to dial my sight to the specific ranges, but in a hunting situation that may not always be possible. You may not always be able to dial whenever that animal moves or where that animal is located. So you may have to get it set up to where you've got to use those pin gaps to use a little bit of windage, maybe hold over a little bit with a certain pin, so that you're making an accurate shot quickly. You may not have a lot of time to make adjustments and move this slider up and down where you want it to be. So that's another advantage of having a little bit tighter pin gaps, so that you're not having those big gaps and having to figure out your holdover so much. Makes it a little bit simpler for hunting situations and that type of thing. So anyway, I wanted to give you kind of a quick rundown of what I've had going on, some of the changes I've made, and some of the tinkering that I've been doing, and just working on my setup. You know, it's not ideal. You can see my groups got bigger as I went, so some of it is on me and the dummy behind the bow, but there is definitely a drop and a change in where my arrows are hitting between the two heavier setup versus the lighter setup. So I was going to stop my video here. I shot 3 groups at 50. I did a little bit of talking, and then I got to thinking, you know, I probably should shoot a little bit closer as well. So I shot 3 groups at 50. You can see my average was probably 10 to 12 inches of arrow drop between those 3 groups. My shoulder's getting a little bit tired because I've been shooting a lot of arrows this morning, but I'm going to shoot a group at 40 with these two arrows. I'll shoot a group at 30, I'll shoot a group at 20. So you can see, hopefully the gaps start to close up as I get closer to the target. Okay, this was 40 yards. Wasn't the best shot here. I was a little bit to the right. But if you look, about 5 inches. Groups have gotten quite a bit closer already at 40 yards. So I'll shoot another group at 30 yards. It should start getting a little bit easier. And things should start tightening up a little bit more as I get a little bit closer to the target. Okay, so that's interesting. 30 yards, and we're basically on top of each other. I'm a little bit to the right. I think my sights are off just a little bit. I need to nudge them over because most of my misses have been to the right. So I think I'm going to adjust that a little bit. After I'm done shooting, probably won't do it here, but I don't know if that's just me. I'm going to shoot 30 yards again just to see if I get the same result, because I would expect it a little bit more of a gap from 30 yards. Okay, so really, I don't think I need to shoot 20 because 30 pretty well tells the tale. Again, I'm a little bit to the right. My sights are off a little bit. There's an adjustment I can make pretty easily. But at 30 yards, about 1.5 inches apart and almost on the same plane. So as I get closer to the target, that shrinks up. So it makes me think a little bit about, do I want to stay with the heavier arrow? Do I want to keep shooting the lighter arrow? Obviously it's going to get there quicker with the lighter arrow, so I do want to try that this year in my hunting setup. But anyway, kind of interesting to see how that changes. I can't say enough good things about this Bowtech solution. It's been such a joy to shoot. I've only been a Bowtech dealer for 5 or 6 months, and I was a big Matthews guy before that. I shot Matthews bows for years. I had a V3 and I thought I liked it until I shot this. And the Matthews I didn't like it at all after I started shooting this, and I got rid of it right away. So really impressed with these Bowtech bows. Again, 2 different arrow weights, and I don't know, kind of some interesting information I got from that today from shooting a little bit. I am using a AAE Max Stealth vane. I've used those for a couple years. Again, I'm shooting fixed blade broadheads, and I've really liked these vanes. They've done really well for me. Been a really good job of steering my arrows, and obviously having a well-tuned bow is going to help with your broadhead flight as well. But been impressed with these. My previous arrows were these Kinetic Chaos, and I was using a yellow wrap with orange and white fletching, and that's kind of been my go-to that I've used for years and years. This one I fletched up with a gray wrap with pink and white, just for something different. I wanted to have a different color so I could kind of tell the difference between the 2 arrows. And I'm not 100% sold on the pink, so I want to get your thoughts on that. Leave some comments below, and let me know what you use for vanes and what color combinations you prefer. I do like something that's bright that I'm going to be able to see, and I do like to have a white vane or a white wrap so I can see what my blood looks like, what organs I may have hit on that animal. Gives me a little bit more information after the shot, and helps me to make a quicker recovery after my shot on that animal. Again, they're pink. Not crazy about it, but I think it is something that is going to be nice and visible. So let me know what you think about that. And what do you think about different arrow weights? Do you shoot a heavier arrow? Do you like a lighter arrow and trying to get more speed? Let me know what you like as far as that goes as well. So, folks, today is National Archery Day, so make sure you get outside and shoot your bows, and support your local small business, small archery shop. If you're here locally in western Kansas, stop by Coyote Creek Archery, and I'd love to help you out and get you set up with whatever you might need for your archery needs, traditional archery or compound archery. I'd love to help you out. So anyway, a little bit of information today about some of the changes I've made and looking at some different arrow setups and trying to find a little bit more speed. So folks, I appreciate you watching, and have a great day.